Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Grand Cat and today I am going to be teaching you how to play meta in Rush Duels. This is the best deck that I could come up with off the top of my head. I haven't seen anyone else using this build. I've seen another few people trying to build Harpies, but using Wind Tribute Winged Beast monsters, which I just don't think is good enough. So this is the deck that I've come up with, and I'm going to explain each and every part of it and why this works. So your main goal in this deck is to max summon your Harpy Lady Sister. Now, when this comes onto the field as max summon, it has 3400 attack. You can use this ability to give it 500 attack during your turn, and then it inflicts 500 damage. It can attack all of your opponent's monsters. It can attack all three of them, but then it can't attack directly, obviously. This one stops it from being destroyed by trap effects, and this one, it allows it to make the 3 attacks. So it's very, very difficult to beat this thing because it's not affected by, it can be destroyed by trap effects. So how do we get over it? It's 3400 attack. Well, one way is to summon your own maximum summon and crash into it, but we don't really want to do that. This is our next best option, which is Seven's Road Magician. Now, if you have all 6 different attributes in your drop zone, he has 3900 attack. If you only have 5 of them, he has 3600 attack. Both of those attack over Harpy Lady Sister. Now, if you've only got 4, but you have this guy in the field, you can just pay 300 life points to reduce this card's attack by 300, which puts it from 3-4 down to 3-1. Then you only need 4 cards, 4 different attributes in your drop zone, and your Seven's Road Magician will have 3300 attack, so it can attack over your Harpy Lady Sister. You only have 3 in the drop zone, he only has 3000 attack, so you do have to make sure of that. Now, the other main reason for playing Spellcasters is because we have Mystic Dealer. Now, Mystic Dealer, you send 1 spellcasting monster from your hand to the graveyard to draw 1 card. Now, it doesn't seem like the best draw mechanic that there is, especially if you're used to playing regular Yu-Gi-Oh! But this is surprisingly one of the best draw mechanics that we currently have in the game. There's a lot of cards that will get you cards back from your drop zone and get you additional hand advantage, additional cards back into your hand or back onto your field. However, this is one of the few that actually draws you a card. There's also a spell card that allows you to shuffle 3 spellcasters from your drop zone back into your deck to draw 1. That is not good enough, don't play it. You only want to go be playing this guy. Also, this guy is a water monster, which helps significantly. Now, let's go over the different attributes first of all. We have our 3 dark Seven's Road Magicians. We, of course, have 5 wind Harpy monsters. We have 4 light monsters, including Magician's Valkyrie. Now, she's a 1600 attacker. Now, the maximum attack you can get in Rush Duels for a 4-star monster is 15, so having a 1600 4-star attacker is amazing, and also your opponent cannot attack other spellcasters on this card, so that actually protects all of your other spellcaster cards. Every card in here is a spellcaster, with the exception of the Harpy Ladies, so this is absolutely essential to this deck. So we're playing 4 light monsters. We're playing 3 fire monsters. This card is not very good, however, it is the best fire spellcaster that we have. He has to be a spellcaster, so we can get the effects of Magician Valkyrie and Mystic Dealer off, so we can discard him to draw a card, and so he can be protected by Magician Valkyrie. We are playing a singular Dark Sorcerer because he is the best 4-star spellcaster. He is dark, which is unfortunate because, of course, our Seven's Road Magician is dark, but that is the best reason for him. And then we have our Dorado, which is our 4-star spellcaster that is an earth monster. So we have 3 earth, 3 water, 3 fire, 4 dark, 4 light, and we have 5 wind monsters. So you've got a nice even spread of all 6 attributes there, so you can easily get into those big high numbers with your Seven's Road Magician. The next thing is we need to take care of the opponent's spells and traps. So we're using Ghost Cyclone. You have to have no monsters in your field. So generally, if your opponent clears your field, you can play this. Destroy a spell trap on your opponent's side of the field. Then if you have 3 or less monsters in your drop zone, in your graveyard, you draw 1 card. So this gives you a tiny bit of draw power, but it's also essentially a guaranteed Mystical Space Typhon without any other requirements. All you have to do is just not have any monsters on your spell and trap card zone. This card might get replaced with the spell that says if you've got a spellcaster in your field, destroy a spell or trap in the opponent's side of the field. But at the moment, this is the one I'm going for, purely because of that early draw power, early game. Now, Monster Reincarnation, we're playing this instead of Sword and Shield. Generally, I prefer to play Sword and Shield. However, it's our skill that makes us want to play Monster Reincarnation. So let's take a look at our skill. The skill is Elegant Egotist, and you can see here it can be used from turn 6 onwards if there are 3 Harpy Lady Sisters in your deck, which we are playing them. You have to show one Winged Beast attribute monster with 2100 attack and 0 defense in your hand, which is all 3 of the different Harpy Ladies. Then you send 2 cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard and add 1 Harpy Lady Sister from your graveyard to your hand. And if you do, send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Now, Harpy Lady Sisters there is in quotation marks, so just be aware of that. And then, of course, during the turn that you do this, your opponent will take no battle damage. So that serves 2 purposes for us. Because it mills the top 2 cards of our deck, it sends the top 2 cards of our deck to the graveyard. That means it also can get additional attributes in there, which also helps out 7-Road Magician, who, of course, is going to be milling a card whenever he uses effect as well. However, it can also get you that lucky part of getting into the Harpy Lady Sisters and then maximum summoning off of that as well. So this is the reason that Monster Reincarnation is really good, because it allows you to get a piece of the maximum summon to your hand, or even get back a Magician Valkyrie or a 7-Road Magician, whichever you need at that particular point. But it also discards cards from your hand to the graveyard, which gets you some of these rather more useless cards into your graveyard so that you can get more different attributes in your drop zone. Now, we were playing the 1 in Widespread Ruin because it's the best trap card in the game. It just destroys an opponent's monster when they declare an attack. We're playing 3 Curtain of Sparks, which a lot of players, you'll probably see, play the barrier. Now, the barrier is when an opponent's monster declares an attack, shuffle any monster from your graveyard back into the deck, and then the attacking monster loses 400 attack. However, because we're playing all spellcasters, the requirement is when an opponent's monster declares an attack, if you have a spellcaster type monster in your graveyard, which I would be very surprised if you don't, then the attacking monster loses 500 attack. So that's an extra 100 attack, which is all the difference. Now, if you have these and you have one of these on the field, then all of your smaller cards are all protected, because this suddenly becomes a 2100 attacker, which is a lot bigger than a 2000 attacker. So that's why this is really, really essential here. The last card is we play a single Pierce. Now, as you may notice, I only have 1 Pierce, but what it does is choose 1 face-up monster in your field. If it attacks the defense position monster, inflict piercing damage, which means the attack exceeds the defense. Now, the reason for this, and the reason why you only need 1 of it, is because when you go into your maximum summon, your 3400, what you'll see the opponent start doing is they'll start just throwing their monsters in face-down defense position so that you can't deal any damage to them. You just keep attacking their monsters, and then eventually they're going to draw into an out. They're either going to draw into their own maximum summon, or they're going to draw into something like a 7-Road Magician or something like that. Now, if you play Pierce, then this card is going to attack all of your opponent's monsters, and it's going to deal piercing damage with 3400. And as you can see, a lot of cards have very, very low defense in this game. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. So that's going to be dealing a lot more damage. I have seen people play the one-side reverse, which is your opponent has to have 2 or more face-down monsters on the field. Change 1 face-down monster on your opponent's field into face-up attack position, which just isn't good enough in comparison to Pierce. You only need 1 Pierce in order to win the game. Generally, if you play Pierce while you've got the maximum summon on the field, if your opponent has 3 monsters, face-down defense position, this is going to win you the game on that turn. Remember that, of course, your maximum summon can't be destroyed by Widespread Ruin. The most they can do is lower the attack by either multiple 500s or multiple 400s, and even at that, this is still going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage because it's 3,400 attack, and it's going to be attacking 3 times on all 3 of your opponent's defense position monsters. Now, if your opponent always stops doing that, and if your opponent is trying to play around one side reverse, and they only leave 1 face down defense position monster, what you do in that case is you either through monster reincarnation or through your skill, you add a Harpy Lady Sister back to your hand and then just tribute your maximum summon for just this 1 5-star monster. Then you summon additional monsters next to it. You get your big monster, your 2100 attacker, to attack over your opponent's defense position monster, and then you just start attacking the opponent's life points directly with the remaining cards if you have enough to actually win the game that turn. And of course, once you normal summon this, you can just, tribute summon and go into 7-Road Magician to just go for that big extra massive damage at the end. So this is what I think is the best version of this deck at the moment with what we have available. You'll see I'm only playing 2 Go Cyclone, I only have 2 of it. I genuinely believe that 3 Go Cyclone is too much because you don't want a hand clogging of, having multiple Go Cyclones, multiple Curtain Spikes, Widespread Ruin, Pierce, Monster Reincarnation, all these things, or even just having multiple 7-Road Magicians, or even just multiple different parts of your maximum summon without actually having anything that you can actually use, because that's going to be a problem in itself. So you really need to cut back on the things that aren't as essential, and Go Cyclone, unfortunately, is not as essential. The main reason for playing Go Cyclone is to get rid of the opponent's Widespread Ruin, and if your opponent sets cards like Monster Reincarnation or Pierce. Now, like I said, these Go Cyclones, the requirement is you have to have no monsters in the field. There is actually, I personally think, potentially a better card if you're playing purely Spellcaster and Magical Stream, and you have to have a face-up Spellcaster in your field, destroy 1 spell trap on your opponent's side of the field. So that's what might replace those Go Cyclones, because our deck is so focused on Spellcasters. Do be aware that the Magical Stream won't work once you're in maximum summon, because all you're going to have is the Wind Tribute Harpy Ladies on the field. They aren't going to be Spellcasters, they're going to be Winged Beast. So, let's take a quick try out of the deck, just to show you guys exactly how it works before we finish this video, and then that'll be us for today. My nose is a bit sniffly today.
Here we go. Get ready for the rush.
Okay, now I know I'm against the computer, but we're just going to immediately play Go Cyclone, purely for the draw 1. Okay, so now we have to start looking. So we have Light, Fire, and Earth on our field. What we're going to do is we're going to normal summon the Fire and the Earth ones, and we're going to tribute the 2 of them for our 7-Road Magician. So that gets 2 of those into our drop zone, and we're going to normal summon these. Now, because Magician Valkyrie is also a light spellcaster, if we pay 300, it's going to reduce the attack of one of our opponent's cards by 600 rather than the usual 300. So let's use 7-Road Magician first of all. That was our Widespread Ruin that's gone. So we only have 2 at the moment, so that's why he's only on 2,700. But let's go ahead and use this, and that lowers that down to 1,000. Now remember, our Magician Valkyrie is also protecting our Light Sorcerer, so the opponent isn't actually able to attack this until they get rid of this first of all. So it's very, very cool to see that. And even if the opponent summons a monster with 2,200 attack, they can't attack over 7-Road Magician until they get rid of this first. So it also protects our 7-Road Magician as well. So let's go ahead and declare some attacks. So the computer tends to be quite easy. We're not going to have any issues here at all. But this is more just to show off how the deck works and what you can see and what you can feel with the deck. Okay, so this is good because we're going to use that to keep ourselves protected. We have 2 of our pieces of the maximum summon. Now, of course, we've got 2 fires in our hand. We've already got a fire in our drop zone in our graveyard, so we don't need that. That is a new one. That is our 3rd Harpy Lady Sister, which is very cool, actually. So, once again, we can just pay 300 and then lower an opponent's monster's attack by 600. Now, we could win this turn, but we're not going to. Instead, we're going to just wait a turn to go to turn 6 so that they can start using our skill. So let's just go ahead and end our turn here. And we've got Monster Reincarnation as well. So if we activate the skill, it's going to mill the top 2 cards of our deck. Well, you have to reveal one of these first of all. And then I'm going to add the remaining Harpy Lady Sister that we need. And then we have to discard a card from our hand, which is wonderful. If we didn't have that fire in our hand, then we could do that. And, well, we're going to do this before we do anything else. And then we're going to maximum summon into our Harpy Lady. Of course, you can maximum summon with any piece. It doesn't matter what one you go for. It clears out the rest of the field for you. Then we have our maximum summon. And then, should we want to, we can Monster Reincarnate into literally anything else that we want back. But at the moment, we don't need to. So, from this point onwards, we're just going to declare attacks here. And of course, we can declare 3 attacks in a row. The opponent isn't going to take any damage this turn because we used our skill of Elegant Egotist. Now, if the opponent was smart, they would be putting all their monsters in defense position, and at that point, we would just be setting our cards. We'd be wasting as much of our hand as possible, so we'd be using Monster Reincarnation to get back anything. Doesn't matter. Let's put another water monster into the drop zone, and let's get back 7-Road Magician for later. Then at that point, you're just really just trying to waste cards in your hand so that you've only got 11 cards left in your deck, so that you can draw into that Pierce, play Pierce, and then attack over your opponent's defense position. Now, of course, we would, if we attack this, that would be 3,400, and then that would be minus 900, so you'd be doing another 2,500 damage, more than enough to beat the opponent. But we're just going to win here because the opponent has been silly. It is a weak opponent. They've just left everything in the attack position for us, so we don't need to do any more than that. We can just attack, and we just win. And that's how the deck works. Nice and simple. And of course, if your opponent maximum summons, then you need to draw into your route of either getting into the 7-Road Magician or getting into your own maximum summon so that you can crash into them. But then that leaves your field open for the following turn. So the 7-Road Magician is a much better out if you can draw into it. And there we go, folks. That is how to play the current meta of Rush Duels. That is what I believe to be the best deck in the game. I am, of course, a former world champion myself. I don't tend to play online ranked matches, generally because it just doesn't entertain me any longer. After I've been to 5 world championships, and I'm just happy to largely be retired and just happily sit here and play against a computer and do these little events. But if I was playing competitively, this is 100% the deck that I would be using, and that's what I'd be taking to regionals, nationals. If there was any kind of worlds or anything, this would be the kind of deck that I would be playing, and that is the numbers that I would be playing as well. The only difference is I might be swapping those out. Oh, goodness, I apologise, ladies and gentlemen, I had to sneeze. But this is what I think is largely one of the best consistent builds. If there was better fire monsters or better earth monsters, I would actually be playing those. Sneezing again. They don't come in ones, they always come in pairs. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on whether you think this is a good deck, whether you think it's a bad deck, what you think can be improved, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and let me know if you're going to use this deck yourself to try and win any big special events. Also, if people aren't watching this video and you do watch this, absolutely play this, and by all means feel free to just win an entire competition by taking people by surprise, because a lot of people aren't, they're overlooking a lot of the cards that are in here, particularly this, because a lot of people are playing the -400 instead of the -500, particularly the Monster Reincarnation. Of course, a lot of people are playing Ghost Cyclone at 3. I don't think it's necessary 3. I think you have a higher chance of bricking with playing 3 of it. You don't want to play too many cards that are going to be dead cards in hand. You're already playing enough of those, and you really want to see a lot of these smaller monsters early game. Particularly Mystic Dealer. If you can get a Mystic Dealer next to a Magician's Valkyrie, and you can protect that Magician's Valkyrie with a few curtains of spikes and Widespread Rune, current of spark, sorry, not spikes, then, you know, this can absolutely win you a game. Also, if you can protect a Light Sorcerer of Sanctity with a Magician's Valkyrie, that can start just lowering all of your opponent's cards by -600, can really stop your opponent from actually doing anything as well. And also, the opponent will maybe think that they can get out someone with, like, you know, a 2000 attacker or even 2-1 or such. Such as a Harpy Lady Sister. They attack into it, you give it -500, and then suddenly, you know, they've lost that monster as well. Or you can even just play, you know, a Widespread Rune, whatever, take care of their stuff. So, real easy. But that is going to be it for this little video, folks. I really hope that you all enjoyed, and if you did enjoy it, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure you click that notification icon so you can see when more of these glorious little videos go out. And we shall see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.